I just got off the worst rated cruise line for the third time. And well, I'm telling you, my first experience with Margaritaville at Sea was very much lackluster. Clearly, my least favorite cruise line. However, my second sailing, different experience. And third sailing, has it changed? Well, we'll see. My first sailing Margaritaville was with the Paradise. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it. Then I tried the Islander, and then it was a night and day difference. It was an amazing experience. But one of the questions I got was, hey, did I think it was such a great experience just because it truly was a great experience? Or was it because my expectations are already so low because my previous Margaritaville Sea selling the first time on the Paradise kind of set the bar low? So by default, any better experience is an improvement. So now that I've been on Margaritaville at Sea for the third time, second time on this ship, and this time I sailed with family. We're going to go over what has changed since the last time. Then go over the pros and cons. The first thing I immediately noticed when I got on the ship, since the last year, they did some kind of renovation of the ship. A light reservation, I'd say, is they added cabanas on the main pool deck. There are two main pools on Margaritaville Sea Islander, and it used to be all seating next to the pools. Now there's cabanas. And I quickly noticed one big downside was now they added all these cabanas for an extra charge here. It left the free seating on the pool deck very much lacking. When I first got on the ship, this go round, I couldn't really find a seat to have my meal when I got on the ship. I love to do that. First thing I like to do on the ship, get a drink, get a meal, go to muster. Not necessarily in that order. And last time I was on the Islander, I had no problem finding a seat. This time was definitely different. So that's the one thing that was worse experience for the regular person on the ship compared to last time. So it seemed right off the bat that it was going to be a worse experience. And honestly, it was for the first little part. And something else has changed since last year as well. This time there was two lines. I have to go to security to get on the ship. Before you check in, there's a line so that way you can get your key card, make sure you have a card on file, etc. They had like a family line, which if you had more than two people, you're in one line. They had another line to where if there's only two people selling in a cabin, you got express right to the front. So if you're someone who has only two people in the cabin, you got on the ship real quick in a hurry. But if you weren't someone like me, yeah, you had to wait in line and wait and wait and wait and wait. So for me, that was a negative. For someone else who's solo or double occupancy only, that's a good thing for you. The dining room did have another change as well. On my first sailing on the Islander, there was several floors of dining. The top floor was an extra charge. So if you want to eat there, there's a few extra menu items. If you want those menu items, you had to go upstairs and pay for that dining. Or you could just stick with the free dining and stay at the bottom level of the dining. This time, the top level was reserved for suite guests and those who had guests who had special benefits. Everyone else was on the bottom level. And there was a big difference in some of those meals. For example, on top floor, one of the items was beef Wellington, which is delicious when I've had it in the past on Carnival and at Hell's Kitchen. How it is on this ship, I don't know because I didn't have that. Overall, I see this as a positive thing because they're rewarding those guests who have those suite rooms and paid extra for it. It's a little more convenient this go around. And for your regular Joes, the menu item was actually expanded, it looks like, for appetizers and main courses, giving you a wider variety of choices, which I absolutely loved. So overall, I feel like it's a win-win for everybody. So those are the big differences that have changed on the ship. Not very much different, but how was the experience? I'm going to go with entertainment. Entertainment from last year to this year was pretty much identical. Pretty much the exact same shows, with a few little added differences in there. Margaritaville has really upped their game. Their shows are getting better and better, especially compared when I first selling ever with Margaritaville at Sea. I would liken this to maybe Carnival level entertainment. You're going to get very similar shows on Margaritaville than you do on Carnival. And there's so much to do on this ship, I was never bored. Trivia every day, multiple times a day. Pickleball, golf course, family-friendly events, which is something I have not experienced on Margaritaville before because last time it was just me and my wife, and the first time was me, my dad, and some of the cousins. And I want to tell you, the kids loved this cruise line. So yes, it is a family-friendly cruise line. You're gonna have less kids on this ship than other cruises that I've noticed. My kids love the kids club and they went there multiple times. So kids activities, I would rate it a positive. Great experience with that. Entertainment, still great experience. And with the food, I've already talked about this a little bit earlier when I talked about the change in the main dining. And I would say the food is better than last time because you have more variety of foods. Okay, let me rephrase that. The selection of food is better. The food is still same quality, delicious. Every night for dessert, I had a pina colada lush. Because the appetizer list was bigger than last time, I got multiple appetizers. You get multiple desserts if you want. The entree is an extra charge, $7 for your second entree. But appetizer desserts are still unlimited, which are amazing. And this staff, as last time, was just as friendly as I remember, especially my favorite bartender, Kent. If you see this guy around, be sure to check him out. He is amazing. So good, I make sure to tip him extra. I truly hope he's on every one of my Margaritaville cruises. And if he's not, I understand. He needs some time off as well. But man, this guy, favorite bartender on any cruise line. And this staff are among the friendliest I've ever seen on any cruise line. So I mean, for the price of Margaritaville cruise, I think it was a great experience overall. So yes, it might be the worst rated cruise line. That's because their first ship, the Paradise, was really lacking, released before it was ready, had a lot of issues. Versus the Islander, they fixed all the issues that they had on the Paradise when they released that ship. They continue to prove it. So I think a lot of those old reviews on that ship really negatively impact what Margaritaville receives nowadays. Now, while I agree their bad publicity at the start was warranted, trust me, I experienced that too. However, they really proved in taking a turn and continuing to deliver stellar services. So if you haven't tried Margaritaville recently, especially the Islanders specifically, be sure to give it another shot. And I'll see y'all next time with more cruise content.